It is my honour to welcome you here to celebrate what has been a remarkable 40 years of the Foundation's existence. I was introduced to the Victor Daitz Foundation by the late Alan Benn, who was the first managing trustee. Although I knew Alan from a young age, I was fortunate to get to know him quite well after joining in St. Clifford and some partners in the clothing business. After I joined Allocated Clothing in 1997, Alan used to visit me in my office every Thursday morning, where he would interrogate, advise, cajole, before talking about his favourite subject, the Foundation. A better mentor I could not have wished for, and at the time it never crossed my mind that I would end up as the managing trustee, which has been an incredible journey and one that very few people have the privilege of travelling. For this I thank the trustees once again for placing their trust and their faith in me. When our chairman, Sam Abrams, proposed that we celebrate this milestone, and I have a feeling I've stolen some of his thunder, he firmly believes that any anniversary ending in a 0 should be celebrated. He made it clear that as well as honouring the legacy of the late Victor Daitz, we should also honour all the men and women who, in an honorary or professional capacity, ensure that the most vulnerable in our province are cared for. Having spent the last 3.5 years visiting most of our beneficiaries, I have seen what a major impact that these people have on the lives of those placed in their care. You are the true heroes, and although we were only able to invite representatives from organisations that we have either worked with for some time or helped with major projects, I include the management and staff of all our beneficiaries in the category of outstanding human beings. When thanked for helping, I often remark that we do the easy part, and I think I borrowed this from Alan Benn. We just write out the check. Making sure that the funds impact the lives of the less fortunate is the hard part, and this is where we rely on you. I would like to make special mention of my fellow trustees, and we are fortunate that 3 of them are founding trustees: Sam Abrams, our chairman, David Levine, and Arnold Zorman. And as such, they are able to guide the rest of the board, as very often we need to rely on the spirit of the Foundation, which is what the late Victor Daitz would have liked. They are joined by Stephen Saunders, Doug Ross, Dave Altshuler, Simon Downs, and Alan Cohen. Thank you all for the help and assistance given to me over the past 3.5 years. When I started my articles of clerkship, as they were known, in the accounting and auditing profession in 1972, I had to attend tutorials at the university on a Saturday morning. I was working during the day, attending university at night, and Saturday morning was tutorial morning. One of the tutors was Sam Abrams, and he came with a fierce reputation. But tutor as he did, as in those days very few high schools offered accountancy for matric. Sam did not then, and does not now, suffer fools, and I credit those tutorial sessions with being able to transition from absolutely no accounting knowledge at all to passing my board exam. I am fortunate to work closely with Sam in several different areas and disciplines, and I am still reminded about and in awe of his attention to detail when he reviews documents. Your guidance is hugely appreciated. Thank you, Sam. I was first invited by Alan Benn to join the subcommittee set up to manage all the contributions made to beneficiaries in the Jewish community. And it is no wonder that we need such a subcommittee, as when you have 4 Jews discussing a subject, you get 5 opinions. Besides Dave Altshuler and Alan Cohen, we are fortunate to have Alana Baronoff on the committee, and I thank them all for their input and, of course, for their varied opinions. In the inaugural minutes of the Foundation, and I think I took a bit of poetic license here, Victor indicated that he would prefer emphasis to be given to the needs of the youth, the aged, the welfare, and related associations of the various communities. These are the guidelines still used by the Foundation's trustees. Victor, I'm told, was a firm believer in learners having a grounding in mathematics and science. So it is no wonder that distributions towards education is a core focus of the foundation. From early childhood development all the way to tertiary education and including special needs classes, childhood assessment and after-school classes. The menorah, which is placed there, is a 7-branch candlestick, which is the foundation's emblem, and this is associated with the Jewish religion. The 6 outer candles represent the branches of human knowledge: physics, philosophy, astronomy, medicine, music, and mathematics. And the central candle symbolizes the light of God, as well as the 7th day of creation, the Sabbath. I like to think that the foundation should be the light that shows other people and organizations the path of philanthropy and compassion, and be a catalyst which encourages greater involvement of all in KwaZulu-Natal in the lives of those who need help. I'm very fortunate that I inherited an extremely well-run foundation, and this is due to my predecessors, Alan Ben and Brian Michelle. Of course, this is to be expected, because they are both qualified accountants. A stringent due diligence process is undertaken before we approve any beneficiary to be worthy of a distribution, and this is before we even agree to accept any requests, which in turn undergo a separate due diligence check. All beneficiaries here tonight will have experienced such scrutiny, and clearly you have passed muster for a number of years. I congratulate you and wish you many years of sustainable operation. The Victor Daitz Foundation, like all similar trusts and foundations, does not operate in a vacuum. It depends on like-minded individuals to manage the foundation at the same level of gold standard corporate governance we expect from our beneficiaries. In this regard, I must pay tribute to the team in the office. I'm sure that most of you know who this team is, but for those who don't, we have Neela Pillay, who is our financial manager and has been with the foundation since it first opened its doors, so to speak. Besides making sure that our financial affairs are in pristine condition, she also ensures a regular supply of samosas and curry. We recently took the decision to handle all the admin and accounting of our non-South African entities to cut costs and consequently to increase distributions. And Neela took on these extra responsibilities seamlessly and efficiently. Bev Cohen is our administrator and handles all aspects of distributions to our Jewish beneficiaries. Bev has been with the Foundation for 12 years and succeeded Daphne Eccles, and we are very fortunate to have Daphne here this evening. For 22 years, the face of the Foundation has been Megan Kaminsky, certainly insofar as the beneficiaries are concerned. Both feared and respected, Megan has travelled. That's true. Megan has travelled the length and breadth of KwaZulu-Natal visiting beneficiaries, never scared to tell them what they were doing wrong, but always gracious enough to tell them what they were doing right. I cut my beneficiaries' visiting teeth with Megan as my guide, and I'm very grateful to her for this. Thank you, Megan, and we still enjoy your visits. Long may they continue. Liesl Patterson filled Megan's very big shoes in September 2021 and is proving to be a very capable, compassionate replacement. We all wish that, like Megan, our tenure will be at least 22. Your tenure will be at least 22 years. My thanks also to Priscilla Mpolu, who takes care of us in the office. I would like to tell you how much I appreciate how well we work as a team, and how the team goes beyond their willingness to go always above and beyond is just exceptional. I would now like to invite you to turn your attention to the screens. There's one here and one on the far end. To view the video on the Foundation produced generously by Anand Singh and his team at Video Vision Enterprises. Special thanks also to Sumit Maharaj, who was instrumental in putting this video together. Thank you.
Rabbis, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. One of the problems of speaking third, or effectively speaking third, is a half of what has been said is going to be repeated, so I apologize in advance. May I add my words of welcome to all of you for joining us for this special occasion, the 40th anniversary of the founding of the Victor Daitz Foundation. As I stand here, I'm filled with a contradictory combination of emotions: humility, sadness, and joyousness, which epitomizes the 40-year journey which I and others have been privileged to have served this fund for the Philanthropic Foundation. Without fail, following my assessment of the made a mistake. On many occasions during my tenure of 25 years as chairman of the foundation, I asked myself the same question when the foundation faced a challenge. What would Victor have done? And without fail, followed my assessment of that hypothetical question. The strategy of the foundation, which has supported and continues to support our mission, is simple. Build a strong tree and distribute its fruits to deserving recipients. Victor also urged the trustees to act as a catalyst and encourage others to support deserving communities. This address will cover three distinct parts. Firstly, a brief background of the early days covering the period 4th of July 1984 to the date of Victor's passing in 1999. Secondly, thanks to trustees, staff, and all those who have played their part in enabling the foundation to be a living legacy to our founder. Thirdly, my tribute to Victor Daitz of blessed memory. The early days. Victor chose his early trustees with meticulous care. He approached Alan Ben, David Levine, Kees van der Paul, and myself to be the founding trustees. Shortly thereafter, Arnold Zorman joined, and although there were one or two other trustees, these appointments were short-lived. Victor chaired regular trustee meetings, during which time, in his own unassuming manner, he explained what the key deliverables from the foundation should be. We were to concentrate inter alia on providing education to the underprivileged, but with a strong emphasis on maths and science, to assist the aged and infirm, provision of essential medical services and equipment, youth development, etc. The net income earned at the foundation was to be divided between the KwaZulu-Natal-based institutions and the Jewish community. Victor was educated at KES in Johannesburg and at Leeds University, where he studied textiles. Before moving to KZN and established Natal Cotton and Wool Mills Limited in Mbeni, in close proximity to Beacon Sweets, whose ownership was controlled by the Zorman family. After our regular trustee meetings, the trustees were invited to lunch at the Grill Room in the Royal Hotel. During his stewardship, Victor allocated and donated a property in West Street and later a property in Smith Street, which at that point in time was the chamber of several legal firms. During his lifetime, Victor impressed upon his trustees that all proposed beneficiaries must be subjected to stringent governance precepts. Victor suffered from ill health towards the end of his life and sold his house on Curry Road, I'm not sure what the name of that road is now, and moved into an apartment in a building called Farringdon, where we held trustee meetings until his death. It is important to note that at the time of his passing, the foundation was relatively modest in size. I will deal with the growth of the foundation when I pay tribute to Victor. I now move on to the dealing with thanks. David Simpson, our current CEO, in his remarks, spelled out the important and essential role the present and past BDF staff have played in enhancing and ensuring that the foundation was achieving its goal. I heartily endorse his comments in every conceivable way. As a foundation, we have since its founding operated on a lean and superb quality of staff. Let me at this stage pay tribute to the trustees who have wholeheartedly embraced the ideals of the foundation and have given many hours of their precious time and expertise to enable this significant milestone in the life of our beloved foundation. I've already mentioned the names of our founding trustees, but would be failing in my duty if I did not pay particular tribute to them. Alan Ben, of blessed memory, was the first CEO of the foundation, and although he had already had an extremely successful career as a practicing accountant, then as a property magnate at JHR's execution, his first love was his stint at the VD Foundation. Even when he was ill towards the end of his life, Alan would do everything possible to arrive at our offices, which at that time was a stone's throw from where we are tonight, and the house where Alan and Jean previously owned on the corner of Knuckle Gardens. Because of his due diligence and his dedication to the VDF, Alan made his successor, Brian Michel's job much easier. Brian served with distinction for many years until he and Lois immigrated to Australia a few years ago. Regretfully, Brian was unable to be with us tonight. Following Brian's departure, the foundation has been extremely fortunate to be able to appoint David Simpson as CEO. David is doing a brilliant job, I don't say that word easily, and has an incredible working relationship with our staff, which is a tribute to his leadership skills. Allow me a few moments to pay a special tribute on the auspicious occasion to David Levine, a founding trustee who thankfully continues to serve the foundation 40 years later. David, a former senior partner of J.H. Nicholson, Still & Geishan, one of the oldest and most prestigious legal firms in KZN, has steadfastly ensured that the foundation has maintained the highest ethical standards at all times. David, I know that if Victor were here with us today, he would express his deep gratitude to you for your contribution. Arnold Zorman is unable to be with us tonight, as both he and his wife Rosemary are experiencing health problems. We wish you both speedy and complete recoveries. Arnold, your role in bringing together parties in some of the dark moments of our country's recent past is well documented. Your long-standing friendship with the late Gatsha Buthelezi and with Nelson Mandela was Ubuntu at its very best. You helped establish major institutions showing patience and tenacity over many decades. In this room are many trustees, and in no particular order, let me acknowledge their experience and dedication. Stephen Sanders, who oversees our financial investments, Doug Ross, who brings multiple skills in the property arena, both in South Africa and abroad, David Altscher, whose late father Ezra set a wonderful example of how to selflessly serve the community. David is a major contributor in almost all facets of the Foundation's endeavours. Simon Downs, who adds expertise to many aspects of our work, including assuming the role of educational overview. Alan Cohen is the latest addition to our Board of Trustees, and his legal expertise has already manifested itself in many cases. We are overjoyed that Ilana Baronoff has accepted our invitation to join the Jewish Subcommittee. One of our former trustees, Anand Singh, who resigned recently because of work pressures and his role in the Nelson Mandela Foundation, will be sorely missed. Anand, thanks for your years of service to the Foundation and for readily agreeing to assisting us producing the video presentation we have just witnessed. Before I come to the most important individual in our Foundation's existence, I would like to place on record my thanks and those of all the trustees to their spouses for allowing these already overworked individuals time to serve the Foundation. Now to conclude, the individual who must rank as one of KwaZulu-Natal's greatest sons and philanthropists, the late Victor Daitz of blessed memory. He bequeathed a sizable share of his hard-earned wealth to the Foundation. From what I can gather, his attorney at that time was a Mr. Wilkinson, who no doubt was aware of the contents of his will. I was living in Johannesburg when Victor passed away and flew to Durban to attend the funeral. As I had committed to a function in Johannesburg after the funeral, I headed back to Louisburg Airport for my return trip. En route, I received a call from David Levine, who asked if I could turn around and meet him at his then Smith Street chambers. I told David that I could not do that, but inquired what the reason was for his urgent call. It was then that I became aware that Victor had bequeathed an incredible amount to the foundation. A day or two later, it became apparent that inter alia, the foundation had inherited a prime property in Los Angeles, a substantial property in Australia, plus an interest in a property in Israel. This was a time when South Africa had stringent foreign exchange laws, and both David and I decided we needed to be satisfied that these acquisitions were approved by the Exchange Control authorities. We approached Exchange Control via Victor's bankers, and unsurprisingly found that Victor had kept Exchange Control informed of all of his foreign assets. Such was the man. In addition to being a leading industrialist, he was meticulous in his execution and planning and adherence to all legal requirements. Very recently, I was a guest at a philanthropic symposium hosted by Investec in their Cape Town offices. Jonathan Block will be testament to that. One of the presenters advised proudly the audience that the Investec Group had received recognition for the size of their philanthropic assets under administration, that is, the sum of their clients and their own charitable trusts, and the aggregate of the annual distribution to beneficiaries. I listened in amazement to these figures as the Victor Daitz Foundation on its own is of similar size and distributes almost the identical amount to its beneficiaries annually. Earlier today, the Jewish trustees and others attended a prayer service dedicated to Victor Daitz, Alan Ben, and we acknowledge the contribution of Kees van der Paul and Clark de Beer, who played key roles in the early days of the foundation. In conclusion, I'm going to plagiarise one of my favourite headstone epitaphs. On the crypt of Sir Christopher Wren's grave is the following: Si monumentum requiris circum spicae. A tribute to the architect who designed the iconic St Paul's Cathedral in London means, if you want a monument, look around you. I choose to change one word from the monumentum to the plural monumenta, as a lasting tribute to our founder. If you want monuments, look around you. Such has been and will continue to be the legacy to society of our founder. Long may the foundation flourish and perpetuate its ideals. Thank you.